This bait is snag free and gets you big bites, and it is absolutely what you better be throwing come late August into September. As we move into September, these bass love to get in brush piles, whether they be deep or shallow. They love to get around docks and marinas. They love to get in places that are easy to get snagged. A lot of times you can throw a spinnerbait and pull those bass up and out of those places. But if you've got clear water, I'm telling you, you better have this rig on your rod. That's right, geeks. Do not throw a spinnerbait even if the water is lightly stained. Now, if it gets dirtier than that, the spinnerbait's going to be what you want to go to. But if you want to draw some big bites, you want to stay weedless, something that I love to do is throw a weedless swim bait. Now, I love to throw the hollow body swim baits. So things like the Shadowlicious, the Bastrix, and there's a few others out there. But the thing about those is they are not very durable. Now, I've got a bait I'm going to share with you today. It swims like a hollow body, but it is actually a solid, slightly hollow belly swim bait. So it's super durable, comes 2 in a pack, and it even comes with a belly weighted hook for you. I picked up a couple of packs of these because I want to try them out in a couple of different lakes. And we'll talk about where I like to fish them and how I like to fish them in just a little bit, but let me show you a little bit about these baits. So these are what's called the Thunder Bellies by Thunder Hawk. Now these were designed by, and again, Jerry, if I butcher your name, please don't hate me for it, Jerry Rago, R-A-G-O, or I don't think it'd be Ragu, but Rago. And it might be Ragu. I don't know how he likes to have it pronounced. So anyway, he is a very well-known bait designer, if you don't know. He's actually designed several baits for Thunderhawk. Now, I picked up a couple of different baits because I like to throw these into cover. There's a few different colors that they have that you can pick up that are a little more natural than these. But a lot of times what will also happen where I'm at is they start dropping the lake and the water will dirty up. So right now I've gone with this color, which is bone. And of course, a really good one. And even if you don't have trout in your lake, a good color to almost always throw in clear water is trout. So the one we're going to be rigging up today, because we got a little bit of wind blowing and we got a little bit of chop on the water, we're going to rig up the bone color. Plus they're chasing shad right now pretty heavy. Now, as you can see, it comes with 2 baits and a 1/4 ounce 5/0 hook. These are 5 inches long. Now I'm going to show you a little bit about the bait. As you can see, they're not hollow bodies. Most of the time a hollow body is going to have a hole right here. They, as I always jokingly say, if you had strong enough lungs, you could blow the entire bait up like a balloon. Now, they do have a slot in the back so that your hook is going to sit there, and a slight slot in the belly, which is going to help with hook ups. They are extremely realistic, you know, with the fins, the tail, and the paint job. So great looking little baits for sure. Now these baits are extremely soft and they've got some great action, which we'll show you a little bit later. But right now I'm going to show you how to put the hook in and how to rig this up. So we're going to go ahead and rig the bait up first, and it's pretty easy. You want to go straight through the middle of the nose. You want to get this as straight as possible. And I go ahead and go all the way up so that the bait doesn't have the ability to move, and you want to get that nice and straight coming out the nose too. Now we're just going to come through the bottom right here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to roll the bait up so that it comes out at the back of the hook slot. Right in the center. And once you get it through, you see it'll rest completely weedless. Now, we'll tie it on our line. So today, since we had a moron want to argue about a knot the other day, please leave that in. We're going to tie a San Diego jam. And it's basically the same exact knot, except you go through the bottom loop, then the top loop, and you pull it down. Snip the old tag in, and there you have the San Diego jam. Now, let's talk about rod, reel, line setup on this, because what you're going to do when you throw this, it is going to matter. You're going to need a heavy duty one. Because we're going to be throwing this in heavy cover, we want a heavy rod. Now, this is a 7'3", because I like to be able to still stay back and make long casts, especially if we're doing this in clear water. You want to stay back, not spook those bass nearly as much, especially with the amount of pressure that we're getting nowadays. So this is one of my favorite rods. This is the TFO option. This is a 7'3", heavy, fast action. It's perfect for this. It's kind of my do-all ledge fishing 5, 6, 7-inch swim bait rod. And I've got it coupled with, this is a little bit older, one of my favorite reels, the BB1 Pro. I don't know how old this reel is at this point, but we almost beat the name off of it. This thing is a 6:4-to-1. So a nice slow gear ratio too. I don't like to get over 6.5 because a lot of times I'm fishing some deeper stuff. You may, if you're fishing a lot more shallow, may be able to speed it up just a little bit to those 6/8s and 7s. But where I'm going to taper pretty quickly off, I'm going to go with a slower speed reel. Now, as always, we've got K9 Pro 100 100% fluorocarbon. Geeks, I implore you to go try some K9. This is the 100% fluorocarbon. The fluoro is a copoly, and it is great for like your treble hook baits, your spinner baits, your chatter baits, because it's got a little bit of stretch. You need to try that out. All right, anyway, go try it. It's 10% off right here. So before we get to talking about the when, where, why, and how to fish this, hey, make sure you go check out the links. And if you want to check out the Thunderbelly, make sure you go check out everything will be linked in the description that you see in this video. If you don't mind, go down there, bookmark that link. If you don't bookmark it and you've got a mobile device, hey, scan this little QR code right here and make sure you book it on your mobile device. Won't cost you an extra penny. We don't do Patreon or memberships. We like to include all of our geeks. This is the best way if you want to buy baits from Tackle Warehouse anyway to help us out. All right, so let's talk about when and where to throw this. We've already talked about kind of the when, and that's the end of August, all through September, October. This is a great little bait to be throwing. You can even add an underspin to it, makes it even a little bit better, calls them up a little bit more. Now, how and kind of what are you fishing it in? Well, I'm gonna be fishing it over a lot of laydowns where I'm from. You can fish it around docks. You can throw it around anything that you're gonna throw a spinner bait around. Because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cast this up to the most gnarly cover, the most gnarly brush that I can get it in. If I'm fishing it deeper, around deeper brush piles, I'm gonna let it sink right down there to it, and I'm gonna tick it and hit it, have it bouncing off, have it ricocheting, pop it over things. I want it to do erratic things while I'm bringing it through that brush. Or I'm gonna have it hit those that standing timber, or I'm gonna have it bouncing off of or skip it around some sort of dock pilings. No docks on this, so won't be able to show you that, but it's the same sort of ideal. You want to throw this in the worst stuff you can, and that's why we're going to throw it on probably somewhere around 17 to 20, depending on how much cover you're throwing it in, pound test line. Like I said, K9, go check it out. I'm going to really target this, and sometimes I'll skip it right up over top of this wood because that gets their attention. They're like, hey, what's that? It's a fleeing bait fish. But we're gonna fish it just like a spinnerbait. So we're gonna slow roll it out of there. It's gonna have some good tail wiggle, but we're gonna drop it in the deepest, darkest holes we can find. Now, when we talk about hook setting this, especially if it's in cover, we're gonna do something a little different than I always say about a swim bait. This time, we're gonna set it just like it is a jig hook, straight up. But remember, there is a lot of plastic and weight here. So when you set that hook, you make sure you get them up out of the cover, and as soon as you know that they're going to try and jump, you crank, fill their mouth full of water and drag that line to the side so that they don't get any leverage or slack on you. As you'll see right here, I kind of let that happen earlier. So, it happens to the best of us. Again, you got a good, beefy, sturdy, sharp hook. Get them to the boat. Don't worry about playing or fighting these fish. It's basically the same as a spinnerbait or even flipping a jig in there. It's something they're not going to see a whole lot of down there in the rough stuff. All right, geeks, if you want another really incredible bait to drop on their heads in the brush like this during September and during October, make sure you go check out the Thunderhawk grenade and the video we did on that right here. Otherwise, questions and comments in the comment section below. You geeks know I love to talk about fishing with you. Like it if you like it. Ring that bell so you get those notifications. Be part of the 100% Watch Squad. Love you, geeks. And as always, you geeks rock.